The decision by Amazon's chief executive to relocate the company's headquarters beyond the borders of the United States marks a pivotal moment not only for the world's largest online retailer, but also for the evolving landscape of global commerce. This bold move, announced in the wake of sweeping new tariffs imposed by the incoming administration, underscores the fragility of international trade ties when political winds shift overnight. Amazon's sprawling campus in the Pacific Northwest has been thrust into uncertainty, its future role as a hub for innovation and employment called into question. Employees who once celebrated the company's rapid expansion now find themselves grappling with the possibility of uprooting their lives or seeking new opportunities. The announcement reverberates far beyond the tech sector as governments and commercial partners scramble to assess the broader economic fallout and recalibrate their strategies for dealing with one of the world's most influential corporations. Before we start, hit the like and subscribe buttons for more exclusive news. At the heart of the upheaval lies the newly elected administration's aggressive stance on trade policy. Tariffs, once a tool employed sparingly, have now been wielded with unprecedented force against a broad coalition of America's trading partners. By slapping steep levies on goods imported from key allies and long-standing partners, the administration has sought to bolster domestic manufacturing. Yet the unintended consequence has been a spike in costs for international buyers, eroding the competitive edge that U.S. exporters once enjoyed. As prices soar and logistics chains buckle under the strain of new customs duties, global businesses are forced to weigh the true cost of sourcing from the American economy. For a behemoth like Amazon, whose core competency relies on streamlined international supply networks, the tariffs present an existential threat. The announcement that Amazon's CEO will lead the charge in moving the company's base abroad underscores a profound disillusionment with the direction of U.S. economic policy. Although major corporations have long navigated shifting regulatory tides, the scale and speed of these new trade barriers have caught many unprepared. In boardrooms and strategy sessions across Amazon's myriad divisions, executives have been forced to confront a sobering reality. Even the most resilient corporate entity cannot fully insulate itself from the whims of geopolitical strategy. Relocating operations overseas is a drastic step, but in the eyes of Amazon's leadership, it is the only viable path to preserving the company's ability to serve its global customer base at competitive prices. Choosing the destination for Amazon's new headquarters has been a strategic calculus driven by multiple factors. A nation with favorable corporate tax structures, robust technological infrastructure, and a stable political environment became the front runner almost immediately. Proximity to major manufacturing hubs was another critical criterion, ensuring that the smooth flow of products from factories to fulfillment centers would remain largely uninterrupted. Local labor markets, educational institutions, and quality of life metrics also factored heavily into the decision. The chosen country now stands poised to reap the immense benefits of hosting Amazon's next chapter. From the creation of tens of thousands of high-skilled jobs to the influx of investment in real estate and auxiliary services. The ramifications of Amazon's departure extend well beyond corporate boardrooms and far-reaching financial statements. For the city that has long been synonymous with the tech giant, the impact is seismic. Small businesses that thrived on the patronage of Amazon's workforce now face the specter of declining revenue. Real estate markets, once buoyed by the influx of highly paid engineers and managers, are bracing for a potential downturn. Municipal budgets that benefited from the company's tax contributions must now confront the prospect of reduced revenues or seek alternative sources of funding. The ripple effects will be felt in schools, public services, and infrastructure projects that counted on Amazon's continued presence. On the national stage, policymakers are confronted with a stark reminder of the delicate balance between protectionism and competitiveness. The administration's aim of safeguarding American industries through tariffs has collided with the realities of global supply chains and consumer demands. As Amazon prepares to plant its flag in foreign soil, questions abound about the long-term viability of a trade policy that prioritizes immediate political gains over sustained economic partnerships. Critics of the tariffs argue that they have alienated key allies and ceded ground to rival economic blocs that are eager to fill the void left by withdrawing American influence. From an international perspective, the arrival of Amazon's leadership and with it significant operations represents a major coup for the host country. The move signals to other multinational corporations that there are viable alternatives to operating within the United States. Governments keen on attracting foreign direct investment will redouble efforts to create enticing incentive packages, streamline regulatory processes, and highlight their own stable trade relationships. In effect, Amazon's relocation may trigger a new era of competition among nations vying to host the headquarters of global corporations, each offering its own blend of financial incentives, talent pools, and infrastructure advantages. As the practicalities of relocation begin in earnest, Amazon's logistical network faces one of its biggest tests yet. The company's famed fulfillment and distribution system, lauded for its speed and efficiency, must be recalibrated to align with new import-export channels. Warehouses will be repurposed, shipping lanes reconfigured, and partnerships renegotiated. For workers stationed in overseas facilities, the announcement has been met with excitement and palpable anticipation. New hires line up for training programs, local vendors prepare to expand capacity, and regional governments lay out red carpets to accommodate the influx. Yet the transition must be executed with surgical precision to avoid disruptions that could tarnish the brand's reputation for reliability. Internally, company culture is being navigated with care. Amazon prides itself on a set of leadership principles that have guided it from a scrappy startup to a trillion-dollar enterprise. Maintaining morale among employees during such a seismic shift is no small feat. With town halls, Quanda sessions, and personalized outreach, they ensure that everyone feels informed and valued. At the same time, teams are being encouraged to embrace the opportunity for growth and innovation that comes with a new environment. Cross-cultural training programs are being rolled out to foster mutual understanding among international staff, while remote work policies are evolving to accommodate employees who choose to remain in the United States. The broader business community watches with rapt attention as Amazon executes its blueprint for a seamless transition. For suppliers of everything from electronics to apparel, the realignment of order flows presents both challenges and opportunities. Some stand to gain from streamlined access to emerging markets, while others must contend with the logistical complexities of redirecting shipments. Consulting firms and trade experts are being inundated with requests to help companies adapt to the shifting landscape. They are offering guidance on tariff mitigation strategies, alternative sourcing, and compliance frameworks. Financial markets have reacted to the news in kind. Amazon's stock price, which initially wavered as investors absorbed the implications of the move, found firmer footing as details emerged about the company's plans for a phased relocation. Analysts have recalibrated their models, factoring in potential tax benefits, operational efficiencies, and the long-term growth prospects in the new host country. While some bearish voices warn of reputational setbacks and the risk of alienating U.S. consumers, the consensus among leading market observers is that Amazon's decisive action reinforces its resilience and adaptability. The human element of this story cannot be overstated. Thousands of employees, many of whom have spent years building their careers in the United States, are now faced with life-altering decisions. Some will choose to relocate with the company, enticed by generous relocation packages and the promise of a fresh start. Others will opt to remain and explore new ventures closer to home. Support programs have been deployed to assist with visa applications, housing searches, and cultural acclimation. Career counseling services are being made available to those who elect to stay behind, ensuring that their skills remain in demand within the local job market. As news of the relocation filters through international media, it sparks a broader conversation about the evolving nature of corporate citizenship in an age where national borders can no longer contain the ambitions of global enterprises. Leaders are rethinking the traditional contract between companies and the societies they inhabit. Amazon's move challenges the notion that corporate success is inextricably linked to a single home base. It prompts a reevaluation of how businesses measure their responsibilities to stakeholders, from employees and customers to governments and the communities in which they operate. The timing of the announcement, coming on the heels of a presidential election that surprised many observers, underscores the interplay between politics and commerce. It serves as a case study in how swiftly corporate strategies can be upended by changes in the political climate. Boardrooms around the world are taking note, reassessing risk matrices and contingency plans to ensure that they remain prepared for sudden regulatory shifts. For governments, the lesson is clear. Cultivating a favorable business environment requires consistency and foresight, lest they risk driving away key contributors to economic growth. Amazon's foray into a new jurisdiction will likely set the stage for fresh innovations. Freed from some of the constraints imposed by the tariff regime, the company can invest in advanced logistics technologies, research and development initiatives, and partnerships that were previously hindered by cost considerations. The new headquarters is poised to become a global center of excellence, drawing talent from across continents and fostering a culture of cross-pollination between diverse teams. Yet, even as Amazon embarks on this new chapter, the narrative remains unfinished. The relocation will unfold over months, even years, as the company balances its commitments to existing customers and employees, with the imperative to chart a sustainable path forward. Governments in Washington will have to reckon with the political fallout of what many will see as a rebuke of domestic policy. Trade alliances may be reshaped as countries respond to the altered landscape of American corporate presence, and the global economy will continue to adapt, finding new equilibriums in the wake of one of the most consequential corporate decisions of the decade. From the vantage point of global supply chains, Amazon's decision to transition away from the United States represents a seismic recalibration. Companies that once relied on US-based distribution centers must now reassess their logistics blueprints. The pivot to new fulfillment hubs in Europe, Asia, or other rapidly developing markets is not merely a matter of redirecting shipping lanes. It demands a wholesale re-engineering of inventory management, demand forecasting, and last-mile delivery networks. In the wake of the announcement, software engineers and operations researchers are racing to refine the algorithms that underpin Amazon's renowned inventory optimization systems, accounting for longer lead times and varied regulatory environments. Traditional models built on the predictability of U.S. domestic freight must now incorporate a mosaic of border inspections, customs procedures, and fluctuating import duties imposed by diverse national authorities. At the same time, Amazon's vendor ecosystem finds itself in uncharted waters. Thousands of small and medium-sized businesses that once basked in the ease of shipping products into a single tariff-protected market now face layered cost structures. Those who manufacture goods in Southeast Asia may discover that it is more cost-effective to route products through the company's new logistical nerve center rather than through U.S. ports. This shift provokes a rethinking of manufacturing footprints. Some vendors may favor relocating production closer to Amazon's new operations, while others investigate nearshoring options within neighboring regions to reduce transit times. Supply chain finance strategies will need to evolve too, as letters of credit and trade financing instruments are reconfigured to accommodate different banking systems and exchange rate hedging needs. On the digital front, Amazon's data infrastructure is poised for transformation. The company's cloud computing arm, which boasted vast data centers in the United States, now contemplates expansion into new territories. Establishing secure, high-capacity data hubs in proximity to emerging customer bases is essential, not only for maintaining performance standards, but also for complying with data sovereignty laws that vary dramatically across jurisdictions. Data scientists and security architects collaborate to ensure that customer information, ranging from purchase histories to payment credentials, remains protected under a patchwork of international privacy regulations. The move necessitates robust encryption protocols, localized backup strategies, and the negotiation of cross-border data transfer agreements that align with both corporate policy and host country legislation. Retail partners and brick-and-mortar affiliates also stand at an inflection point. For years, companies in sectors such as groceries, apparel, and consumer electronics leveraged Amazon's US-centric distribution network to provide speedy delivery service. Now, collaborative programs like Ship from Store and Amazon Go must adapt to a geospatially diversified framework. Retailers with national footprints in countries hosting Amazon's new headquarters can anticipate deeper integration with the platform, while those tied primarily to the U.S. market must explore alternative partnerships or develop in-house logistics capabilities. This dynamic may foster the emergence of regional e-commerce champions as local players step forward to fill voids in the American ecosystem. The financial architecture underpinning Amazon's global operations will likewise undergo significant revision. Corporate treasurers must revisit foreign exchange risk management as revenues and expenses shift balance between currencies. The repatriation policies of profits earned abroad, subject to the tax codes of each jurisdiction, call for sophisticated structuring to optimize liquidity without triggering prohibitive tax liabilities. Financial analysts pore over scenarios to weigh the costs of offshore financing against potential benefits, tracking interest rate differentials and sovereign credit ratings. Moreover, credit facilities and debt instruments once denominated exclusively in US dollars will be supplemented by euro, pound, yen, or renminbi-denominated bonds, reflecting a recalibrated capital strategy befitting a truly multinational enterprise. Corporate governance will see equally profound adaptations. Amazon's board of directors, historically steeped in U.S. legal tradition, is expected to expand its composition to include experts versed in international corporate law and multinational regulatory compliance. New audit committees will incorporate oversight of cross-border tax strategies and environmental, social, and governance standards that vary by region. Stakeholder engagement assumes a new dimension as Amazon reconciles the expectations of institutional investors in the United States with those of sovereign wealth funds and private equity partners in Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. Shareholder meetings may rotate between continents, underscoring the company's commitment to its global constituency. Labor relations too emerge as a critical frontier. While in the United States, Amazon has grappled with unionization efforts and labor rights advocacy, the move abroad presents a mosaic of legal frameworks governing worker protections, collective bargaining, and employment benefits. Each new host country brings its own set of norms. Some mandate profit-sharing schemes or codify robust worker councils, while others offer more flexible contractual arrangements. Amazon's human resources leadership must craft compensation and benefits packages that are locally competitive, yet aligned with the company's global philosophy. Training programs for facility staff will need to be translated and culturally tailored, and leadership development tracks recalibrated to foster talent in diverse settings. In the realm of sustainability, Amazon's migration invites fresh opportunities and challenges. The environmental footprint of global shipping has long been a point of contention, and reorienting distribution flows can either exacerbate or alleviate carbon emissions depending on implementation. The company has pledged to deploy electric delivery fleets and invest in renewable energy for its fulfillment centers. But achieving these goals in burgeoning markets with nascent infrastructure requires strategic partnerships with local utilities and vehicle manufacturers. Renewable energy credits and carbon offset schemes must be negotiated per country, aligned with both Amazon's own shipment zero ambitions and the host nation's climate commitments under the Paris Agreement. Marketing strategies will necessarily adapt to resonate with new core audiences, although Amazon's brand enjoys universal recognition. The nuances of consumer behavior vary widely across cultures. The marketing team must recalibrate messaging to align with regional preferences, from localizing language and imagery to respecting cultural norms around shopping occasions and promotional calendars. Product recommendations driven by machine learning algorithms will be retrained to reflect regional taste profiles and purchasing patterns. Loyalty programs may evolve into variations that feature localized rewards, such as partnerships with popular regional retailers or cultural event sponsorships, deepening engagement with customers previously outside Amazon's immediate orbit. Meanwhile, the competitive landscape will realign. Rival e-commerce giants based in Europe and Asia will assess Amazon's move as both an opportunity and a threat. In regions where Amazon establishes deeper roots, competitors may be forced to innovate aggressively, leveraging their existing local expertise to carve out differentiating services, be it via faster delivery, niche product curation, or immersive retail experiences. Conversely, in the United States, rising domestic platforms may capitalize on the perceived vacuum left by Amazon's scaled-back presence, accelerating partnerships with third-party logistics providers and exploring new omni-channel models to win over consumers seeking alternatives. Investors, corporate analysts, and economic forecasters will track Amazon's performance through a dual-lens approach, monitoring the financial metrics tied to its legacy U.S. operations and the growth indicators emerging from new hubs. Quarterly earnings calls may introduce segmented reporting, disaggregating revenue and operating margins by region. Wall Street analysts will pore over metrics such as fulfillment cost per parcel, international Prime subscription growth, and cross-border versus domestic sales ratios. Equity research teams will adjust their valuation models to account for geopolitical risk premiums, learning curves associated with new markets, and the capital expenditures required to build or retrofit infrastructure abroad. Educational institutions and research bodies, too, are poised to benefit from Amazon's migration. Universities near the new headquarters anticipate influxes of research funding, internships, and collaborative labs focused on cutting-edge fields like robotics, artificial intelligence, and supply chain analytics. Faculty recruitment may intensify as the company seeks local academic partnerships to drive innovation pipelines. Doctoral candidates and postdoctoral researchers gaining access to Amazon's data and technological resources could accelerate breakthroughs in machine learning and logistics. Automation is creating a virtuous cycle of talent development and corporate R&D. The The legal profession finds itself at the forefront of sculpting Amazon's future. International trade lawyers, corporate tax experts, and antitrust specialists will guide the company through the labyrinth of local regulations. They'll lay the groundwork for everything from corporate entity formation to compliance with emerging e-commerce laws. In jurisdictions where competition authorities scrutinize market dominance aggressively, Amazon's counsel must prepare to defend against potential investigations and adapt business practices to uphold fair trade principles. Intellectual property portfolios will be fine-tuned for each territory, ensuring patents, trademarks, and licensing agreements secure the company's proprietary technologies and brands abroad. From a technological standpoint, Amazon's movement sparks advancements in the integration of edge computing, robotics, and artificial intelligence to meet the demands of disparate environments. The robotics teams that pioneered automated picking and packing in the United States will now customize solutions to different warehouse sizes, local labor markets, and climate conditions. In regions with power intermittency or unreliable connectivity, edge computing solutions will be critical, empowering on-site processors to manage operations autonomously and sync with central systems during periods of bandwidth availability. These innovations not only fortify Amazon's operational resilience, but also seed technological spillovers that other industries can leverage. Community engagement efforts will enter a new phase. In the United States, Amazon has supported educational initiatives, community grants, and workforce development programs. As the company shifts its focus overseas, philanthropic strategies will be realigned to address local needs, ranging from digital literacy campaigns to environmental conservation projects. Corporate social responsibility teams will partner with local NGOs and civic bodies to tailor impact programs, ensuring that investments in community welfare resonate meaningfully within each sociocultural context. These endeavors serve not only altruistic aims but also nurture goodwill among stakeholders in the regions that now host Amazon's heartbeat. Ethical sourcing practices take on renewed urgency as Amazon extends its footprint. Consumers increasingly demand visibility into where and how products are made, with concerns ranging from labor conditions to environmental stewardship. Amazon's procurement standards will be harmonized globally to enforce consistent ethical benchmarks, while accommodating regional certification systems, be they fair trade, Rainforest Alliance, or locally recognized eco-labels. Blockchain pilots and other traceability technologies may expand to provide end-to-end visibility for high-priority product lines, reinforcing consumer trust and brand. Integrity within the sphere of employee experience. Amazon's relocation triggers a wave of introspection around work models and cultural integration. While the company's digital-first ethos facilitated remote collaboration during previous global events, the establishment of new physical hubs demands a recalibrated approach to hybrid work policies. Facilities design teams will create office and fulfillment spaces that reflect a synthesis of Amazon's leadership principles and local work cultures, incorporating communal areas, innovation labs, and modular workstations that accommodate varied collaboration styles. Diversity, equity, and inclusion programs will be tailored to the demographic realities of each region, ensuring that the workforce reflects and Amazon respects the communities it serves. Marketing and public relations efforts must navigate the sensitivities inherent in relocating a corporate flagship. Neighbors in Seattle and Arlington mourn the departure of one of their most influential employers, while the new host country celebrates its arrival as a validation of its economic promise. Amazon's communications strategy will balance empathy and excitement, acknowledging the emotional weight for U.S. employees and communities, while articulating the strategic rationale driving growth and customer benefits. Town hall meetings, press briefings, and digital outreach campaigns will weave a narrative that connects Amazon's global ambitions to its enduring commitment to customer-centric innovation. In the realm of innovation ecosystems, Amazon's shift accelerates the evolution of global technology clusters. Regions that host the company's new headquarters will witness spillover effects, startup incubators benefiting from Amazon's mentorship, venture capital attracted by proximity to the tech giant's talent pool, and university spin-offs scaling more rapidly with corporate partnerships. Conversely, markets losing Amazon's direct presence may pursue revitalization initiatives, seeking to diversify their economic base by nurturing homegrown tech champions and complementary industries, such as biotechnology or clean energy. The broader geopolitical dimension of Amazon's move cannot be understated. In an era marked by shifting alliances and trade realignments, The relocation serves as a barometer for international relations. Host governments secure not only investment but also leverage in diplomatic dialogues, highlighting their role as essential nodes in the global digital economy. In turn, the United States must grapple with the diplomatic fallout of altered corporate footprints, potentially re-evaluating its trade postures and negotiating new frameworks to retain the participation of multinational enterprises. All of these transformations unfold against the backdrop of evolving consumer expectations. Customers worldwide demand faster delivery, seamless digital experiences, and ethical business practices. Amazon's ability to harness its scale and technological prowess in a newly diversified operational model will be critical to maintaining customer loyalty. Innovative solutions such as drone-based last-mile delivery will play a pivotal role. AI-driven personalization platforms will be tested and refined in the new host markets before being rolled out globally. Success in these arenas could reinforce Amazon's reputation as an industry pioneer, even as it navigates the complexities of multi-jurisdictional operations. Beyond operational and market considerations, Amazon's shift compels a re-evaluation of its cybersecurity posture. With data centers and networks spanning new jurisdictions, the company must fortify defenses against region-specific cyber threats and comply with varying national standards for infrastructure resilience. Joint exercises with local cybersecurity agencies and participation in international security consortiums become imperative to safeguard customer data and maintain uninterrupted service. Simultaneously, Amazon's customer service model will evolve to embrace linguistic diversity and localized support channels. Call centers will be established in multiple time zones, staffed by representatives fluent in regional dialects and trained to navigate cultural nuances in dispute resolution. AI-driven chatbots, once tailored primarily to English-speaking markets, will be enhanced with multilingual natural language processing capabilities to ensure swift, empathetic assistance across the globe. In anticipation of future technological breakthroughs, Amazon will deepen its investment in emerging fields such as quantum computing and blockchain logistics. Research partnerships with host country innovation institutes aim to accelerate proof-of-concept trials, positioning Amazon at the vanguard of next-generation computing and decentralized supply chain tracking. Such collaborations not only drive product and service enhancements, but also cultivate scientific talent pipelines critical for long-term competitiveness. Finally, as part of its philanthropic evolution, Amazon's foundation will recalibrate grant-making to address global challenges amplified by its relocation, supporting digital inclusion initiatives, cross-border educational exchanges, and health equity programs in underserved communities. By aligning social impact strategies with the company's broader international footprint, Amazon seeks to weave a legacy of shared prosperity that transcends commercial success, reinforcing its role as a catalyst for positive change in every region it calls home. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, could you leave your comments below and tell us what are your thoughts on Amazon leaving the US after Trump's new trade tariffs? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching and see you next time.